So, if you want to stand against what is going on, and not just there but all over the planet, you don't have to be down there on the front line with the people, in front of the people with the riot gear. Get behind those guys, offer them moral support, and keep on driving the message home that people will not be pushed over. There are power in numbers. But if you want to truly stop this, not today, not for this one location, you need to go after the source of this problem. The head of the snake needs to be removed. This is how you guys, if you're not around in that area, can help. This is how you can help. This is how you can do it. You can educate yourself. You can insist upon transparency. And eventually, in time, when enough people know, it's physically impossible for them to hide any further. It truly is. When enough eyes look at a certain location, it's impossible. When enough voices insist that the doors be opened and transparency be shown about who these oil companies are who are committing these heinous crimes that come down to the decision makings of certain families on the planet, not down to mass investors, then we'll see the change. Then we can put a stop to what we're seeing happening and manifesting in Dakota, unfortunately North Dakota. Another thing we can all do is to ensure that we are fully educated. A Native American tribe called the Plains said, "Give me knowledge so I can have compassion for all living things." And this is true. Knowledge, gnosis, Gnosticism, however you want to call it, can envelop a person in a loving compassion the more they learn. Now, a problem I've had watching this is, let's put it this way, and I'll use another analogy. If you were at the North Dakota Access Pipeline, you were protesting, saying water is life, defend our clean water, and defend the land which is sacred. And someone from a fracking company who was working on fracking not far away, or just along the road, or in the next state, came to that and started protesting, people would say to the person fracking, "This is a little bit hypocritical, because you're standing here saying protect the clean water, but you know, you're fracking, and this damages the environment. And all land is sacred, not just this piece of land or this piece. Earth is sacred, it's your home, the whole thing is sacred." So if they came from a fracking company and started protesting, you'd say, you know, go away, this is hypocritical, you shouldn't be doing this. However, fracking does not pollute water as much as animal agriculture. Yet I read yesterday that 2,000 turkey dinners were served at the protest site. You see, those turkey dinners guaranteed polluted the water more than what that oil pipe will if it doesn't leak. We have a problem here with education. You can't stand saying water is life. You can't stand saying we're fighting for clean water and then eat animal products. You can't do it. You cannot be an environmentalist and eat those things, not in this day and age. Animal agriculture is the #1 pollutant of water, with antibiotics, with manure. It's also the #1 use of clean water that can be used elsewhere. Now, as I say, if someone from a fracking company came and protested at the site, you'd say, you know, this is ridiculous. You shouldn't be here. Well, someone who's consuming something which adds to more water pollution than fracking, way more water pollution than fracking, and then stands at that protest site, they're not necessarily a hypocrite because most people don't know, but what they are is they're uneducated. And we need to be fully educated before we can take a true stand against the problems on the planet. We can't just stand against the things that affect us personally. All land is sacred, and the planet, to me, is sacred. Those who contribute to the oil industries, I myself contribute to the oil industries so as I can run this here. I drive a diesel vehicle. I have to drive an off-road vehicle to transport the sick children, etc. There's no other options at the moment. Of course, we should look into alternatives. We should look into the work of Tesla and Wilhelm Reich and water combustion engines, which were first running many decades ago, but don't seem to have developed very far, by using electrolytes in the carburetor to burn the fuel. It's basically a simple science that could be developed quite easily, and there are water-powered cars now. But off on a tangent, we should look at that as a source and a solution, but in the meantime, the number one cause of water pollution on the planet is animal agriculture. The number one cause of environmental destruction is animal agriculture. The felling of trees, animal agriculture. Greenhouse gases, animal agriculture. Fracking has a tiny little percentage in comparison to those things. So I stand wholeheartedly with everybody there and with all of my heart, and I hope they succeed in stopping this pipeline. But when they come away, they need educating, because if they're so passionate that they'll stand against this injustice because they want to protect the planet, they want to be protectors, then they shouldn't have ate 2,000 turkey dinners, because that contributes more environmental destruction to the planet than the oil industry does. And this is what I mean. Give me knowledge, as the Plains tribe said, give me knowledge so that I may have compassion for all living things. I'm not having a go, I'm not trying to change the topic on things, and they should go up against ultimately these dynasties and the oil companies that they create by investing from a million different directions. But at the same time, you've got to be taking a good stance in your message. Those in the oil companies might be educated. They might know that animal agriculture is destroying the planet faster than using oil is. They might know that. They will know that, for sure. Guaranteed. And then they see people eating turkey dinners. To them, it's not going to go in. It's not going to go in. They're going to be like, yeah, I can't make my profits, but you're allowed to destroy the planet even more by choosing to eat that when you didn't need to. You could have ate some beans or some rice or something like that, but you chose to eat the meat, which has created more environmental destruction than anything else on the planet. Of course, they're not going to sincerely hear the message. Now, we'll always create environmental damage on the planet. No matter what we do, we will always create environmental damage. And the idea is to minimize that. That is our duty, to minimize it as much as possible. And that is why we should start looking at new energy sources instead of oil. Like I say, Wilhelm Reich, Tesla, brilliant places to start looking. We should start looking if we must use oil, because our society requires it right now. Many of my children would be dead if I didn't have a car to get them to hospital in time, etc. For those of you who don't know, I have many disabled children in my care at the village that we built here. So it's at present, for me, it's a necessity that I burn diesel, unfortunately. If I had another option, I'd take it, but I don't. Everything else I do, I move around on foot and running and stuff like this. This is how I operate. But for transporting the children, etc., I need the diesel. However, if another option comes, I'll take it. But when it comes to my diet, I don't have to consume. The option's there. It's available to all of us not to consume the thing that creates more environmental impact than anything else. More than burning fossil fuels. 13% of greenhouse emissions come from transport. 51 come from animal agriculture. There's a massive difference. So those guys who are there need to get educated, because if they're so passionate that they can stand like this because they want to protect the water and they want to protect the environment, then they can find that same passion and put it to good use and do the one thing that every human can do, guaranteed to stand against environmental destruction, which is to cut out the animal products. And it's difficult for me. I very much enjoy the music of Nako Bear and Medicine for the People, but I happen to know that they eat meat. And for me, it's ridiculous. I see them doing concerts for clean water and then they're eating a burger. The number one pollutant of water on the planet. So the message is not sincere, which I don't believe to be the case. I think they're just not educated. People are not educated. They don't know about this because most environmental agencies are not speaking about it. The environmental agencies will tell you that palm fat, which is terrible, if you're going to eat, don't eat palm fat as well. It's destroying the rainforest, not near as quick as animal agriculture is, but it is destroying it all the same. But they'll tell you about that before they tell you about destroying the rainforest for feed crops for animal agriculture, because they're eating meat. Because they don't see that there's a choice. But there is a choice for all of us. We can stop consuming it, then we stop having to cut down the forest to make room for the feed crops for them. The feed crops that we already have growing, we can use for several years whilst we sterilise those animals and let them die out peacefully. And then we can use that feed to end the deficit of world hunger, literally. Stop eating meat. That's all the things that can happen if everybody collectively stopped eating it. And you'd be healthy, guys. You'd be healthy. You would just simply be healthy. There are many, I'm not saying you can't be healthy whilst you eat meat, by the way, because it's down to mindset. I know better athletes than me who eat meat, and I'm a vegan for a long time now. However, in the Western world, we should just make the choice to protect the planet for our children than to go with our taste and desires. So North Dakota Pipeline, number 1, if you want to help, know your enemy. It's not just a corporation, it's not just an oil company. It's elite families, and they can be tracked and traced with a few little clicks of a button to find out where they are and who's doing what. And every time that name Rothschild's somewhere in the thick of it, every single time. Other thing, make sure that the message is sincere. Make sure we abandon all hypocrisy. You can't ask one man who is harming the planet to not do so and not to get his profits when you're going to harm the planet with an industry which harms the planet even more than the oil industry, animal agriculture. You can't stand there eating a turkey dinner saying, don't you do that to my planet, whilst you're choosing to do that. Get educated and don't make that choice in front of them, because to them who will be educated on those matters, they'll find that hypocritical, I'm sure. I'm positive they will. And they will be educated. That's these huge companies get drawn into the UN conferences that speak about animal agriculture's issues on the planet versus fossil fuels, so on and so forth. So I stand with the guys there, and the brutality is terrible, and I hope everybody comes away without too many injuries. I've seen one girl's nearly lost her arm the other day. And I hope those who are enforcing the law come to their senses and start to see that, you know, Earth doesn't constantly keep providing for us if we just keep draining it. And what use is your paycheck if you haven't got a planet to leave behind for your children? What is the point? So, yeah. Much love, guys. Tread carefully on the earth and leave the smallest footprint you can. If you can choose to do that in some way, then do it. Do it. And it can be done. I was locked inside the system of Babylon, as it were, a few years ago. Now I've got an off-the-grid village here in Tanzania, completely reliant on solar power. The only on-the-grid thing that I have is my internet and my diesel vehicle, which I have to use to transport the disabled children we have. Other than that, we're off the grid, and slowly, maybe we can progress even further. I don't know. So, but if I can do that, then you can. So, much love. Bye.
And west, to the north and south. Warrior, warrior, gather every child. Mama needs you now. Warrior, warrior, the suits are moving in just to get their dollar. Treaties being broken, no respect or honor. Listen close, my friend, this is happening. Warrior, warrior, if you are around, stand up like a mountain. Rise up from the earth, one love, one message. I know that we are strong in spirit, and if you are the righteous, hear it. the water. 7 generations of the sons and daughters. Gather all your friends, this is happening. Warrior, warrior, if you are around, stand up like a mountain. Rise up from the earth, one love, one message. I know that we are strong in spirit, and if you are the righteous, hear it. If you are around, stand up like a mountain. Water is life, life from the water. Water is life, elders they taught us. Water is life, life from the water. If you are around, stand up like a mountain. Rise up from the earth, one love, one message. I know that we are strong in spirit, and if you are the righteous, hear it. If you are around, stand up like a mountain.
What's your feeling right now?
The police are protecting and serving the pipeline. They're protecting fossil fuel profits over human beings. They're macing people. They're fucking tasing them in the face.
Lock arms! Lock up!